All right, how about that for some intro? Get the blood going. Star Wars. It's all about Darth Vader and the dark side versus Luke Skywalker and the Jedi Knights. Chapter 3, Section 4, talking about point slope form now. We've talked about this a little bit before in class, the difference between slope intercept form and point slope form. Slope intercept, we said, has slope and intercept, whereas point slope form has a point and a slope. Okay? Now, you do not graph from point slope form, so you're never going to see this form right here, is what it is. You're never going to see that and have to graph from it. Okay? What you do with point slope form is you simplify the expression, and we'll see in the examples, to get to slope intercept form. So all point slope form does is allow us to get to slope intercept form so that we can graph. Okay? You'll notice these three terms here in red. I put those in red because those are the places you're going to be plugging numbers into. The y1, the m, and the x1. Okay? So your m, as always, is your slope. Your y1 is the y coordinate. Remember, we need a point and a slope, so the y coordinate from the point you're given, and x sub 1 is the x coordinate from the point you're given. All right? So let's do some examples here. Okay? We've already done examples like this. You'll see three different things that you can be given. Okay, the first type of example is if you're given a slope and a y-intercept. So that's the first thing you always ask yourself when you see a question, is what do I know? I know the slope and I know the y-intercept. Okay? If I already have that, remember, I can just go straight to y equals mx plus b because that has my slope and my intercept. You've done examples like this on the homework when we were looking at slope-intercept form. So for this example, we have y equals 3x minus 1. Okay? So the second example, if I take a look at it again, a slope of negative 1 and goes through the origin. If we take a real quick look at what that would look like, there's our graph. If that's our line, it's going through the origin. What does that tell me that the y-intercept is? That tells me that the y-intercept equals 0. Remember, a y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So my y-intercept is 0, which tells me that my formula is just negative x. Negative 1x plus 0 is just negative x. Okay? So that's the first type of problem you'll see, is given a slope and a y-intercept, and you can just go right to slope-intercept form. Second type of thing, given a point and a slope. Okay? Here's where we're going to need point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. A point and a slope. Okay? We want the equation of the line through the point with a slope of negative 3. Okay? So let's plug in what we know. My y coordinate is 5 equals my slope times x minus my x coordinate, which is negative 1. Okay, notice I didn't just write 1 minus sign. I have minus a negative 1. Okay? So now we simplify. We see the number outside, so I have to distribute using Magic Hat Pat. Y minus 5 equals negative 3x. This becomes plus, so negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 3. Now we're getting our y by itself, so add 5. Remember, I cannot add 5 to the 3x because the 3x has an x and the 5 doesn't. So I'm just adding it to 3, which means y equals negative 3x, and negative 3 plus 5 is plus 2. So that is my equation. Notice it ended up in slope-intercept form. Okay? That's how all of our answers are going to end up, is slope-intercept form. Now for B. Write the equation of the horizontal line that passes through the point 6, -2. Not all problems are going to directly give you a slope. Sometimes you're going to have to figure it out, just like we did figuring out the y-intercept, okay, a couple examples ago. So I know I'm going through the point 6, -2, which tells me I can do this right away. Plugging in my x for x1 and my y for y1. What I need to find is my slope. Okay. If I have a horizontal line, this is something we've talked about already. If that's my XY chart, I have a horizontal line. What type of slope is that? It is a 0 slope. So I'm going to be plugging in 0 for m. Then when I distribute, I'll have y plus 2 equals 0. X times 0 is 0. 0 times -6 is 0. So y plus 2 equals 0. Now again, we need to solve for y. So that means y equals -2. And that's our slope, or that's our equation. Okay? All right. Next type of problem you'll see. I'm sorry, special note here that we see. We already talked about it once. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Vertical line means it is undefined. Okay? That's something we should remember from a couple sections back. But what that means is, when I have this next example, write the equation of the vertical line through 6, -2. We just did the horizontal line through 6, -2. Now we need to do the vertical line through 6, -2. Okay? Anytime you see vertical line, okay, we cannot use slope-intercept form or point-slope form. The reason being is because both point-slope form and slope-intercept form involve slope. When I have a vertical line, remember my slope is undefined. Since it's undefined, I cannot use slope at all. Okay? What that means is every time you see vertical line, the way that you write the equation, this is a little different, is just x equals whatever your x value is. Okay? That's 6. So this is our final answer, x equals 6. And real quick, I can show a quick example here. If I'm at that point 6, -2, and I have a vertical line going through that point, take a look at all the points along that line, like this point or this point. All of those points have an x value of 6. So that's why our equation is x equals 6, because every single point on the vertical line has an x value of 6. Okay? So be careful. Every time you see a vertical line, you have to know that that's a special case. Okay? And the last type of example we're going to see is if we're given 2 points. So you're either given a slope and an intercept, in which case we just go to slope-intercept form, a point and a slope, in which case we go to point-slope form, or we're given 2 points. Okay? In this case, we need to take these 2 points and find the slope first, which is why we started this in section 1, is finding a slope. So we're going to start with -1 minus -3 over -4 minus -3. Those become plus, which tells me I have a slope of 2 over -1 or -2. Okay. Now we have a point and we have a slope. What can I do when I have a point and a slope? Plug it into point-slope form. So y minus -1 equals -2 times x minus -4. All right. We can again go ahead and make all those plus. So we actually have y plus 1 equals -2 times x plus 4. Distribute the -2. Y plus 1 equals -2x minus 8. Subtract 1. So y equals -2x minus 9. All right? And the last example I put on here is the same thing. I'm given 2 points. So the first thing I need to do is find my slope. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I have a slope of -1/3. Okay? Now I can pick either one of the 2 points to use. Since I picked the first one on the other example, I'm going to pick this example or this point on this example. So we'll go ahead and do y minus 2 equals -1/3 times x minus 3. All right. Distribute the -1/3. Don't be afraid that it's a fraction. The first thing, all you do is write it in front of x anyways. Okay. Now I just do -1/3 times -3/1. All I did was take -3 and make it a fraction. Multiply straight across to get 3/3, and 3/3 is 1. So I have -1/3 x plus 1 plus 2 to both sides. So y equals -1/3 x plus 3. And there's our final answer. All right. So I know there's a lot of examples there. There's a lot to do, but basically what it boils down to is you either have a slope and a y-intercept, in which case we start in slope-intercept form. You have a point and a slope, in which case you use point-slope form to get to y-intercept, and given 2 points. Okay? And if you're given 2 points, find the slope first, then we can get to y-intercept form. So the whole point of this is getting all your equations to y-intercept form so they can be graphed. All right? We'll see you in class. Have a great day. Bye.